Today we're going to do some more work on finding the area of parallelograms. The parallelogram that I have has the left side is 6 feet long, the right side is 6 feet long, and the top and the bottom of the parallelogram are 3 feet long. The height of the parallelogram is 5 feet. So let's go ahead and find the area of that parallelogram. Let's start by writing the formula for the area of the parallelogram. Area is equal to base times the height. Okay, and we have to determine which length is going to be the base and which length is going to be the height. In order to do that, you need to look for the little square. There's a little square in the drawing, and that tells us that this side and this length over here are 90 degrees apart. I'm going to point that out by highlighting that. This edge of the square is part of this line. This edge of the square is part of this line. And that means that those two lines are 90 degrees apart. They're also perpendicular, because perpendicular means 90 degrees apart. Your base and your height always have to be 90 degrees apart. Okay, so we can get rid of the word base and the word height and replace them with the actual numbers. Area is equal to 3 feet times 5 feet. So the area is equal to 3 times 5, which is 15, and feet times feet is feet squared. So the area of our parallelogram is 15 feet squared. I'm going to box my answer. And we can go on to the next parallelogram. At this time we have the left side is 5 yards. The right side of the parallelogram is 5 yards. We have the length at the top of the parallelogram as being 20 yards, and the length at the bottom of the parallelogram is 20 yards. To the right of the parallelogram, we have our little square over here, and we have the dashed lines, which are not part of the parallelogram. They're just extra information for us in the drawing. And let's go back to the highlighter. And I'm going to highlight 2 sides of that square that are part of our drawing. So we have this side over here and we have this side of the square. Those 2 sides are 90 degrees apart, so that means that this can be the base, that side can be the base, and the height is the dashed line over here. It's important to know that this part right here is not, this part of the dashed line over here is not part of the parallelogram. It's just the extra information that tells us that this line and this line are 90 degrees apart, so we can figure out that this is the base and that's going to be the height. So let's go and write down the formula for the area of the parallelogram. Area is equal to base times height. Gives us the area is equal to 20 yards times 4 yards. Let me point out that we can just say that that's equal to the base, and this is the height. And now I'll put those numbers in there. 20 yards. Oops, what happened there? Hmm. $20 yards times 4 yards. Gives us the area equal to 20 times 4, which is 80, and yards times yards is yards squared. So the area of the parallelogram is 80 yards squared. This box the answer. Now we're ready to go on to number 3. Make that a little bigger for us to see. Okay, this parallelogram, we have the left side is 10 inches and the right side is 10 inches. The top of the parallelogram is 20 inches and the bottom of the parallelogram is 20 inches. We have a dashed line over here, and we have the little square over here. So let's get started by writing the formula for the parallelogram. Area equals base times the height. And as I said, we'll go to that square, and we're going to highlight 2 lines on that square that are part of our parallelogram or in the height. So there's this part of the square that's part of the parallelogram, and this part of the square is going to be the height, and because those 2 lines are part of the square, that means that they're 90 degrees apart. So this is going to be the base, and the dashed line is going to be the height. Let's go write those in there. So we'll say equals base and equals the height. All right. Now we can write area equals base. Let's get rid of that word and write the number for that, 20 inches, and times the height, which we said was 8 inches. And that gives us area equals 20 times 8. 2 times 8 is 16, but we have it's not 2 times 8, it's 20 times 8, so let's put the 0 at the end. And inches times inches is inches squared. And go ahead and box the answer. The area of that parallelogram is 160 inches squared. So remember, when you're trying to find the area of parallelograms, you're going to need to look for the little square, and you can highlight two lines that are part of that square, then that are also part of your drawing, and that will tell you that one of those lines is going to be the base and one of the other line is going to be the height.